Huge update on the David situation. This is what I heard people talking about. I'm not sure if it's true. Y'all let me know down in the comments. But apparently David was paying Celeste's mom $10,000 a week to keep quiet. Now, I'm not sure if this is true like I said before, but I'm not surprised. Y'all have to remember something too. Y'all know how David is an adult and Celeste is a minor? Well, the mom knew that they were dating. What does that tell you?
Now listen up. This one's spinning out of control. Word on the streets is that David's mom might be stepping out to speak on the whole crime situation. And from what's being whispered, she's convinced he actually did it. But here's the wild part. She's also trying to defend him at the same time, trying to explain why he supposedly did what he did. This twist came out of nowhere. Like, why is she speaking up before the cops even made an arrest? Does she know something the rest of us don't? Or is this part of some quiet damage control plan behind the scenes? Every day, this whole David story just gets messier and harder to make sense of.
David's mom, Colleen Berg, has been spotted shopping at a Texas pawn and gun store. She was seen leaving the Tombow Pawn and Jewelry near Houston on Thursday, holding an instruction manual for an AR-15 semi-automatic rifle. She's the first person close to David to be seen since the news about Celeste broke.
Now get this, he hasn't even been named a person of interest yet, and no official statements dropped from his side. But somehow, his mom's ready to talk like she's the spokesperson. It's giving panic mode. Some folks online think she's trying to clean things up before they get worse, painting him as misunderstood instead of guilty. You know how it goes. When someone close to a crime gets exposed, suddenly they had a rough childhood stories start flying. People are already saying that's exactly what's about to happen here. So the big question is, what's really in David's past that could explain what he allegedly did to Celeste? This whole thing's about to explode. So here's where it gets even deeper. Word is, David wasn't exactly the social type growing up. He was homeschooled, and people say it's 'cause he got bullied so bad in regular school that his parents had to pull him out. That kind of isolation can really mess with someone's head, and being stuck at home all the time only made him more distant from the world. He once admitted that as a kid, he lived through people online, watching strangers like they were his own friends. That's sad, but also telling. And when his family packed up and left Queens for Houston after 8th grade, he lost the few real friends he had. From then on, it was just him, his screen, and his games. That became his world, his escape, his comfort zone. But that also means he missed out on what most people get during their teenage years. Real connections, real emotions, real growth. And that lack of socializing, it might have shaped his entire personality. Folks online are saying he might have developed some serious antisocial traits, even calling him a sociopath. And honestly, when you look at what he's being accused of, that word's been floating around for a reason. In one old interview, David even said, "I was always looking for outlets to escape reality. As a child, I never wanted to read a book or do anything extracurricular, and my mom always hated it because she thought video games would rot my brain, when really, I feel like that's where my love of narrative and storytelling comes from." Wild, right? It's like he's admitting he was living in another world from the start. David once said, "I played so many games that showed me the progression of all these complex characters, so it's always been part of my life." That line alone hits different now. He talked about having to learn how to be his own friend because after leaving public school, nobody ever hit him up again. He said it was a tough adjustment, learning to be alone and figuring out who he was without anyone else around. And fans caught something real strange in his old interviews. They've always said he didn't really have his own personality, that he just mirrored others, and guess what? He kinda admitted it.
When I was as a detective, I'd be like solving murders that I'm committing myself.
He said, "Games affect my music in a major way. I was so attached to those characters that I was a personality sponge. I would watch these characters and think they were so cool, so I'd base my personality off the next game I played and then the next." That's wild. He even added, "I love living vicariously through people, like in video games, movies, and TV shows." That line right there gave fans chills. People are saying that kind of detachment, living through fantasy worlds instead of reality, fits too perfectly with the dark way folks believe he hurt Celeste. The more people rewatch his old interviews, the creepier it gets. Back in March, he told Mahogany that his song Romantic Homicide came from a character he created named Eem, which means pain in Japanese. He described Eem as an agent of chaos, a dark figure who destroys everything around him. And here's the kicker. David said he'd been working on an anime concept about a detective battling his own dark alter ego. Like, was he talking about fiction or confessing through his art? Here's the chilling part. David's story about that alter ego wasn't just dark fiction anymore. In his concept, it was the alter ego doing the killing. While the detective tried to solve the crimes his other self had committed, at first it sounded like deep artistic symbolism, just a creative way to explore twisted emotions through his work. But now, it's hitting way too close to home. With a real investigation happening and Celeste's body found inside his Tesla, fans are starting to question everything. Was this Tommy character really just a story? Or was David using his art to confess what was brewing inside him? People online are replaying his interviews, line by line, every mention of Tommy getting dissected like evidence. The deeper fans dig, the more it feels like that line between David and his dark alter ego might have been thinner than anyone ever imagined. And when the news about the Tesla broke, that's when everything shifted, from rumors to pure horror.
Officers were called to the tow yard over a foul odor coming from the Tesla, which had been sitting in the lot for several days.
Police were called to a towing yard in LA after workers reported a nasty smell coming from an impounded black Tesla. When detectives opened the front trunk, what they found was straight out of a nightmare. A body, dismembered and wrapped in plastic, hidden like a dark secret nobody was supposed to uncover. The whole internet froze that day. Then came the moment that shook everyone to the core. Just a few days later, the coroner confirmed what nobody wanted to believe. It was 15-year-old Celeste Rivas, missing since April 2024. What once felt like distant internet gossip suddenly turned horrifyingly real. But there was one detail that made people's skin crawl even more. Reports came out saying Celeste had a small tattoo on her finger, the exact same one David had been photographed with months earlier. That eerie connection sent the internet spiraling. Right after that, Celeste's family broke their silence. Her sister reopened her old Instagram and posted, "Celeste was only 15 years old. She should still be here with us. She trusted someone who didn't protect her, and now she's gone." The post exploded online, passing 1 million views in less than a day. Within hours, hashtags demanding justice for Celeste were everywhere. People heartbroken, furious, and demanding real answers. Then, Celeste's mom dropped another heartbreaking detail. She said she had long suspected her daughter's boyfriend was someone named David. But when she saw that matching tattoo on his finger, her worst fears came true. The whole family was left shattered, wondering how something so dark could have unfolded right in front of them without anyone realizing it. And get this, it wasn't even the first time Celeste had vanished. Police revealed she'd gone missing once before, back in January, only to be found weeks later in the Hollywood Hills, just blocks from where David lived. A teacher later told investigators Celeste had already been talking to him online long before that. Then by April, she disappeared again. And this time, she never came back. What people once brushed off as typical teenage rebellion now looks like a setup for something far more twisted and tragic. And what comes next? It's the part that chills everyone to the bone. Here's where the story gets even darker. What came next left the internet completely stunned. Investigators started piecing together a timeline, and the more they dug, the worse it looked for David. They discovered messages, photos, and recordings that hinted at an unhealthy obsession between him and Celeste. It wasn't love, it was control. He allegedly wanted to decide who she talked to, where she went, even what she posted online. Neighbors near David's place in Houston told reporters they'd seen a girl who looked too young coming and going from his apartment months before everything went down. Some even claimed they heard late-night shouting and banging, but no one ever called the cops because they didn't know what was really happening. Now, everyone's wishing they had. Detectives say they pulled surveillance footage showing Celeste entering David's Tesla the night she disappeared in April, but she was never seen leaving. That was the breaking point that turned a missing persons case into a full-blown criminal investigation. And it doesn't stop there. Digital forensics found deleted voice memos where David allegedly talked about facing his demons and finally letting go. Creepy doesn't even begin to describe it. People online are connecting all of this back to his old lyrics and interviews. The way he spoke about his alter ego, the obsession with control, the fixation on dark themes. It's like the art and the reality blurred together until nobody could tell where one ended and the other began. Fans who once praised his creativity are now horrified, saying things like, "He wasn't writing stories, he was documenting his mind." Now, with all this evidence piling up, the big question remains. Was this all premeditated, or did he just lose control completely? Either way, the story of David and Celeste has gone from mystery to pure nightmare, and the world can't look away. Fans started digging deep into David's music, and what they found gave everybody chills. They realized that so many of his lyrics seemed to be about Celeste, not just in romantic homicide, but in songs that never officially dropped. In one leaked track from 2023, he straight up mentioned her name, and the words lined up way too closely with what we now know about the real girl. One verse went, "Oh, Celeste, the girl with my name tattooed on her chest. Smell her on my clothes like cigarettes. I hear her voice each time I take a breath. I'm obsessed." Another line said, "Afraid you'll only love me when undressed, but you look so damn gorgeous in that dress. Missing you so much makes me depressed." Creepy, right? The way those lyrics hit now feels like a confession hidden in plain sight. With all these clues connecting David to Celeste, people are starting to think his mom's sudden move to speak out isn't random. It's strategy. Maybe she's trying to soften the story before the full truth hits, hoping the world will see him as troubled instead of dangerous. But one thing's for sure, fans aren't buying it anymore. So tell me, what do you think? Was this all a warning we missed in plain view? Or is it just a tragic coincidence that turned dark way too fast? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, share this video, and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss what's coming next. And don't go anywhere. Tap the next video on your screen for even more wild celebrity drama.